They the rawest new podcast, who want to smoke? Coming raw and uncut like who want this dope? Whatever you want, they for sure to cover the topic. From racial issues to fashion flies to cockpit. Y'all ain't never get it like this, cause they ain't never did it like this. We on our this the way the cookie crumbles for y'all. She gon' bring the inspiration to all. You know what's up with her. And this shit manifesting is a vision. And y'all gon' love TJ cause he the realest. From the heart of a mom, they the start of it all. You looking for a high, learning holla at your rod. The professor, never lesson, coming at you with the lessons. Get your edge if you knowin' what's good for you. They educated, but they still keep it hood for you. Won't need another, this one here really do it for you. Baby, the love is yours.
What?
Hey. What it do, fam? What it do?
It's been a minute.
Child, I bet they thought we was a missing link somewhere, but we still here. Life is life, and we got hot girls, hot boys on our team. They've been doing the most. I mean, I'm not calling no names. It's only 3 of us. We can figure that out at any moment. The other one's a little lukewarm, trying to figure out is she gonna get a little warmer for the summer, or turn down for what? But anyway, welcome to the Floor is Yours podcast, where it is me and my crew, Flex the Rex, the producer. He got his guns, he got his hair swinging, he a cookie monster at time. Really, happy birthday yet again, Hey.
Yeah, it was my birthday.
Happy birthday. And then we have my radiant flower here, Ivory, the conscious creator. You know what I'm saying? She retired. I mean, you can't slow her down, baby. You better. She like the road runner, baby. Beep, get out the way.
Y'all better catch me outside.
Yeah. And so then, of course, you have your girl. Yeah. You got your girl IC here in the place to be inspirational.
Yes, IC.
Yes. So we are glad to have all of our family back here together, but we're also glad to have our online family, the Floor is Yours community. Welcome. As we always do, we want you to follow, like, and subscribe on all social media platforms, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you got going on. If you still MySpace, and do what you do, put us out there, connect us. And so we want you all to join in tonight. We know it's been a minute, but we still have the same flow that we always do. We come straight from the dome and we just collaborate. We have healthy dialogues, and we want you all to chime in. So chime in with us on tonight. And just know that we've got a really hot topic that we're going to be talking about here. And, it's one of those words that is kind of hard to say. And, they'll pass it to the people that may try to say it right. Reciprocity. Reciprocity is what we're going to talk about tonight. And, I hope y'all can take some nuggets from it, but I hope y'all can drop us some gems as well. And then just keep it real and transparent. This is the no judgment zone. We need to know how you think about the word reciprocity and how it is effectively in your life or non-effective in your life. And so we're going to see what we can do to make some transitions and some things happen to shift the way this is going. Okay. All right. I'm going to pass it over to my boy, Flex.
Reciprocity is one of those things that in my opinion, that we struggle with a lot. I think it's one of the foundational parts of a relationship. And we'll see TD Jakes in this video, he talks about how if there is no reciprocity, that relationship is going to die. And I like that word, die. You can try to, maintain it. And even the greatest givers get tired. So I think it's important that we, reciprocate, the love we're getting, whether that's the form of respect, gifts, honor, whatever it is that you're giving. You got to make sure that you're also giving it. I know we like that. I'll just leave it at that. Let me go to the video, and then we'll come back on the other side of the video and start the discussion. How about that?
How about that?
Any relationship that has no real reciprocity will die. Strong people will keep giving to you a long time, Eventually, when they don't see it coming back in similar capacity, they will eventually become convinced that the investment does not warrant a return. If you don't learn to give like you learn to get, every area that there is not reciprocity, it will die.
You know, when I sent that video to Ivory yesterday, she said it brought tears to her eyes, and it was just one of those powerful messages that
Do you see my?
you want to talk about why that triggered you, Ivory?
It does. So I'm a giver. I'm a giver, but it gets hard. It gets hard, and it gets hard when you don't get it in return. And I'm a giver this naturally in all my ships, in every relationships. And I'm not only a giver to the people I love, but I'm a giver to everybody attached to that person, just naturally. And so when I see it, when I see that video, it just hurts when you don't get it back turn, because you get tired. You get tired.
Yeah.
You get drained.
Yeah.
And you don't give.
Yeah.
You don't give because you want it in return. But you do want something in return sometimes. It feels good sometimes when you get it back. So it does. It's like, dang, it gets tiring.
Yeah. I saw this video or this Facebook post once. It says if you give people who already don't honor what you're giving, to try to give them more of what they already don't honor and think that they're going to automatically start honoring you and loving you more is ridiculous. If they're not respecting your gift giving, your attention, your time, or whatever right now, giving them more of it is not going to make them respect and give you and start honoring you in that space. So, and there's this other one too that I want to point out. It says that givers have to set limits because takers rarely do. And we've all been in those relationships, friendships where you feel like you're not getting it back, and you're giving, and it's just your investment is just seemed all for naught. So I know we like to hear, and I want to get y'all's take on this. We always hear that love is unconditional, and as I matured, and I'm gonna use that word intentionally, based off of what I've learned from the experts, that I don't think love is intended to necessarily always be unconditional. I think we love, and at the minimum, we expect people to at least what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily cherish, but value what you're giving, right? Or respect it or honor it. If not, what's the purpose? And I want to get y'all thought on that. Do y'all think that love is and I think we talked about this before, that it's unconditional, or do you think we do either consciously or subconsciously have some conditions based off of our love?
I do believe that we have conditions.
I think love.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the same thing. I think that we have conditions. It's nice to say. It's nice to say.
Yeah. Hey, Ivory, I think you got a little delay in yours. We want to get out and come back in real quick, and then we'll continue the discussion. So, and here's that. While she's doing that, I see. I'll let you take this comment from Katrina, and then kind of relate that to what we're talking about right now.
It says givers have to set limits because takers rarely do. I will agree with that. I'm a giver, like Ivory said, by nature, and giving so much of yourself will end up causing you a lot of heartbreak and disappointment, because you're doing it from a genuine place, but the taker is only getting what they need from you to be sustainable, to have a lifeline, with disregard if you take another breath or not. As long as they're getting what they need, then they're fine. And so setting those boundaries allows you to have a strong pulse and don't let anybody take you down to a place that you have to get on life support. So I agree.
Yeah. And Ivory, I think your picture's clear, so I think you're good right now. What do you think about this comment that's
Yeah.
right here? Givers have to set limits because takers rarely do.
No, that's a true statement. The only thing is that givers, it's hard to set limits. Like we always say that, like I'm a set boundaries. We're gonna set boundaries. But you have to stick to your boundaries because we always say that. We always say that. Um, but you do have to set your boundaries, and then you have to be intentional of okay, who is it going to be? Is it going to be family? Is it going to be friends? No, it's going to be everybody. It should be everybody, because if you don't set boundaries, if it's not for everyone, then the person that you didn't set a boundary for, now they're going to abuse it. Now you're still in the same
Yeah.
situation. So that boundary got to be set for everybody.
Yeah. And I think it might take some time before you figure it out, because if you're a natural giver, you're not doing it and say, hey, I'm giving this gift or I'm being this to this person so that they can be it back. It usually
Mhm.
takes something bad to happen or for you to need that person and to show up, and they don't do it. And then I just remember sometimes when I've addressed it with some people, it's like, hey, man, you're not being what you're expecting. It's just that age old saying, be what you expect. And not everything needs to be the same return. If you're giving someone something in money, it can be attention or time, or it could be returned and just appreciation. And they're thankful. I made a post a while ago that said that people will thank you a million times if they think that's going to keep the blessings or the gift.
Mm.
So you have to also just be careful about that.
Mhm.
In that video, TJ said that every relationship that don't have reciprocity is going to die. And it'll be sooner rather than later. And what happens sometimes is people feel like I invested so much time and money and resources. I brought them around my family and my kids and all that. And then they find out that like this person is just in it for them. And I would tell you that any healthy relationship
Mhm.
is a relationship of sacrifice. Unfortunately, a lot of people get in relationships and it's like, what can I get? What can I get? What can I get? Especially
Mhm.
you think about some of the music that we listen to, and more times than not, is someone expressing that they'll do anything for you, and you get people that's trying to even exercise those lyrics in their real life, and they end up resentful, because they're giving and giving and giving, and
Mhm.
then you end up being burnt out. So,
Mm.
again, any relationship without real reciprocity is going to die, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, there's a couple comments in there. I appreciate all the comments. We're gonna make sure we keep them coming. Corey said, "I agree, Gerard." I just want to make sure I highlighted that one first because I love when people agree with me. Um,
Bless it, Lord. Bless it.
yeah, Lovely Brown. She said, "Yes, I agree." So true. Heather says, "I agree with Misha." So yeah, that's definitely it. One of the things I want us to talk about is this thing about headship of a relationship. In our culture, it's traditional. That I shouldn't say it is traditional that men are the providers. And what I want to ask you,
Mhm.
ladies, from a female's point of view, and it might be different. I don't know if y'all think the same or not. And I didn't prepare this question because I want to catch y'all off guard with it. But I know there is a desire sometimes for the man to be the provider. Whether it's in a house, we're paying the bills, if whatever it is.
Mhm.
And my question is nothing against that in my point of view. But if a man is lifting y'all up and giving y'all that kind of honor, that kind of respect, that kind of love, how do you show reciprocity in those situations to make sure that he feel the same kind of love? Like, how do you return the favor? And I'll let either one of y'all jump in and take that one first.
Okay, I'm gonna need you
I
to
mean,
go ahead. Go Ivory first.
look, the head had cocked to the side.
Yeah, because I wanted to get. It's like
So
the questions was like a blank for me. Like he's not working. Well, he's not gonna say he's not working, but I'm the breadwinner. Is what you're saying?
He's the breadwinner or whatever. But he just his manhood or his worth in his mind is like, hey, I want to take care of you. Let me pay the bills. Let me be the provider.
Okay.
How do you reciprocate that love in a way that honors
Okay,
him?
I got you.
So
I got you.
so one, I have to find out how he receives love, because I can do a bunch of things and he's not going to appreciate it because that's not how he wants to be loved. So I can say, you know what, I can cook, I can, take him out, but you know what, he may not want that. So I have to find out how my man wants to receive his love and how he likes to receive it. You know, because now if I show him the way that I want to show him and he don't appreciate it, now that's a whole different topic. That's a whole different subject. So I gotta show him how he appreciates it, how he wants to be loved.
I like your answer, but I ain't like it. I wanted it to be something else so I can hit back. But that was a good answer, man.
Well, that's my
can't
answer.
Well, I don't know what I don't know what a
that
hit back
question was. I didn't like your question. I didn't like your question.
I had to. That's why I was like, I wanted to understand the question fully. So what I will say this: if I've not learned anything moving forward, with the desire for a relationship moving forward in my life, it is about asking, because a lot of the times we will assume, oh well, this is what, oh, I know he'll like this because I put my thought into it and all of that, or vice versa. But if I truly understand what you like and how you would like it to be done, then I don't have to guess, and I don't have to put my question marks on it. I just simply need to ask, how do you need me? What do you need from me? How do you need me to love you? And I think sometimes we do that. We feel like we shouldn't have to, because hey, you should just take it the way I want to give it to you. So no, I do feel there is a time that when you find out how what your mate desires from you, is that I'm not trying to say I'm perfect in that area, but I'll get close enough to say that this is what I know he desires. This is the things that he likes. And then I just take out the time to do the simple things. I don't care if it's just a post-it note in the bathroom or something in the car, just little things that say I value. If you say you like some tweaks, let a Snicker bar, whatever the case may be, just small increment things that he likes to do. If you like to get with his homeboys, how about I give y'all this? Hey, I put a gift card in your bag for y'all to go over to your favorite restaurant for you just to hang out with your homeboys. Just letting him know that I do value our time together, but I know you need some specific time for yourself too. So just knowing that I'm good, we good together, but I'm okay when you're not with me, because at this point, at least I should be in a trusting factor. But just doing the things that do matter to him to show him I value that you do take the lead. I trust you for sure, and I trust that you'll tend to my heart, and then you have respect for me, so that I don't have to doubt that when you're not. So it's a lot that I've had to grow and learn and just look at it from different perspectives.
Yeah, y'all both caught me off guard. I will be honest. I was hoping y'all said something different, but that's good. That's good. And I shouldn't be a surprise. Y'all both are two stand-up women, and I got to hear everything about y'all. So hey, let's go to the comments.
Maturity too much.
What'd you say?
I said you use maturity too much on this platform to not think that we was gonna have a mature statement.
That was dope, man. Hats off to the ladies right here, and that's important. Find out what that man wants, and at the same time, I think that man needs to make sure that what he's giving, if he's providing, like that's what you want, because that whole love language, or if he's like, hey, I'm paying all the bills, and what he's asking for in return, want to make sure that they're comparable, right? Because I don't want anybody to end up in a situation where that guy's using money or him providing as the way to control y'all either.
Absolutely.
So it's something to consider. So hey, keep the comments coming. I'm finna go to the some of these here. I see this is from my man Dame with Two Mics Up, who was on this show a few weeks ago.
Man, I'm supposed to have my mic. Well, I ain't on his show, but I'm gonna bring my microphone from here on out. I'm just gonna be a whole new type of chick on here. I'm gonna have my microphone ready, because they say I do mic drops, and I'm trying to fit the description of what they say. What's up, my friend? Good to have you on tonight. He says, respect him first, have conversations to find out more about who he is and how you can both work together as a family. Uplift him through acts of kindness. Continue to be his rock, his therapist, his lover. Just a few things. I'm gonna say, I'm over here with my favorite little drink, Topo. I'm gonna say cheers to that. Like, I mean, it does coincide with what me and Ivory, did say. And Gerard wasn't expecting us to say that, but
Yeah.
we did what we were supposed to.
Yeah.
So what does it mean
Yeah.
to y'all when y'all see him say continue to be his rock? What does that mean?
For me, the rock is just to be a solid foundation for him to be able to come to. That don't mean I just get overloaded with what he has going on, but I'm there to be this solid place in his life. That when he has to have the moments that it may not be the best day, it may be an overwhelming day, or it may be a vulnerable moment. It's just that I'm just there to be that foundation, that solid foundation, to make sure that he knows that he has somebody that he can come to as his partner. That's my take.
Yeah. I want to add
And
anything to that?
also, since we're talking about, yeah, I do. And since we're talking about, say the word I see.
What's the word, baby?
Reciprocity.
Am I
Reciprocity. I got you, girl. Don't worry about it. I got
he
down
needs
paid
he
tonight.
needs, yes. So he also needs to be that for us too. So if we're that rock for him, we also need to be able to come to him so he can be that rock for us too. So
Yeah.
it's always the man coming to us and just unwinding and letting it out, but also he needs to be a listening ear when it's time for us.
Right.
That's good. What about the he said uplift him through acts of kindness. And I think that can look a lot of ways, but a lot of times men have trouble or they struggle with expressing, what they're needing. When how it needs to be uplifted. So what are some ways that you all can in a loving way figure out what he needs, how he needs, and when he needs it?
Well, that's when I was just going back to exit. When I spoke of exit kind, just simple things. It could be just a small, intimate dinner at home. Like, let's just sit down, fix this dinner, have this food out here, and then let's just have simple conversation, just to say, "Hey, how's your day?" Or if it could be a sporting event, he needs to get away. He's had a lot. Plan on a weekend. Be like, "Hey, I took care of that for you. Fly out." I know that may sound a little, a little different for some women, because we used to just want to be flued out, flat out, and whatever. But I do believe that it does need to be. It needs to go both ways. It can go both ways, but we look
Yeah.
at it more from just that one side. And just like I said, just the simple things. It may be some cologne he may like, or a nice shirt. Simple things like that. Small note. I'm telling you, when you put a lot of effort to writing to people, that's actually the things that you coming from your heart. Cards are good, don't get me wrong, because it does give some form of a self-expression of how you feel. But I feel like when you begin to write small little notes just to say things to encourage them, a simple text message, just small things and things that matter. So acts of kindness, something like, "Hey, if your feet bad and I can't get that Emery board and sandblast them, I can definitely get you to the salon and allow them to take care of your feet."
Yeah, yeah. So let's take this comment right here, if you don't mind. I see from Rashida.
Okay, Rashida, she says, "When you give from heart with no expectations in return. The hurt comes because we don't manage our expectations, and understand people are who they are. However, through experience, lessons, boundaries will be established. So it starts with, I don't know the last part of that."
So it starts with understanding the person for whom they are.
Okay, got you. I couldn't see the rest of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we talked about the earlier, when you give from the heart with no expectation in return. And that's what we're saying is, do we really not have expectation, or do subconsciously we have some form of expectation, even if it's to show appreciation for what you're giving? Because how do you feel? I ask this way: what if you give and someone is not appreciative of what you're giving?
I can't say if it's for me back in the day, because I'm learning not to take things personal anymore. It would have bothered me, because I felt like I put my effort into showing you something. But at the same time, it not to now not get upset about it or to feel rejected or not appreciated. I would just ask, did you ask why you didn't like the gift, or just ask a question? So therefore, I know not to go down that road again, because it was something that they didn't like.
Yeah,
instead of just getting an attitude about it and just be like, you know
but that's
what?
different. Yeah, and them not liking it versus them not reciprocating love
Oh,
at some
so we'll
point.
reciprocate. So I'm not. I guess I've never done anything to just try for you to give it back to me. Now I will say this: support was a big thing that mattered to me. It wasn't about money or gifts. It was about being present and showing up for me when I needed you. Even if it was something like if it was a special event, something that I needed to do that was important to me. And just because it may have been you make, people have said they're introverts, that you don't want to be out there, then sit in the back in the corner. I just need to know that if I look out there, that you're there. Or if I need you to, if I need to say I need to come down off the stage, that you're there to extend a hand for me to walk down, because at least something about me is important enough for you to show up.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. Again, reciprocity looks hold on. I think that was Ivory having some difficulties. We're gonna mute her for a minute, but I think reciprocity looks a lot of different ways. And to what y'all earlier said, you got to figure out what that man needs, and or vice versa. If it's a man with a woman, what the other person needs, and provide. Because again, relationships are about sacrifice. And if it's someone who's always giving, always forgiving, always extending grace, and the other person is just taking advantage of what the other person is giving, I think they're going to start to build up some resentment and
Mm-hmm.
some burnout. And it's going to be exactly what TD Jake said in that video, is that their relationship is going to eventually die. Now, I'm not disputing what Rashida said when she says, when you give from the heart with no expectation in return. I will interested to hear kind of expound on that part, with no expectation in return, because I think even subconsciously that we
We are.
all expect that at some point, like, you got to give back too. Now it's different for kids, you know, but when you're in a relationship, and you're growing and building together, and I think you expect for that person to give back too. Would you agree?
No, I agree, because once he did say that if you do, if you keep it investing, then it ends up being a no return. So, that's like putting your money in the bank and then there ain't no interest really growing. So why do I have it in this account? That means I need to put it somewhere where there will yield a return. Because if we're trying to move forward in life, there has to be a shift with an expectation that we're not going to be in the same place that we were last year. There has to be some expectation.
Yeah.
Expectation.
Yeah. My man Dane said, period. I see foundation, and fellas, remember that statement goes both ways. He was talking about earlier when you were talking about being the rock and being the foundation. I
Mm-hmm.
think traditionally for us, the male typically sets the tone for the relationship. And I like that. It's not that the woman can't, but why should she have to? And most men are going to step to the forefront and then ask her not just to lay there and be pretty, but we do want her to help build us. Help. Here's a big one: hold us accountable. My thing is, we can get complacent sometimes, and I think for me, it's one of the most invaluable gifts or way of motivating and pushing me is not to let me get complacent. And how do
Mm-hmm.
you do that? You set goals, right? You set milestones to make sure that we're reaching our goals. And even though goals need to be challenging, but they need to reflect what, not just what I want, but what's good for the family. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So old Dame said, yes, I see simple things in my opinion mean you care. It shows that you took time to think about me. And you're right, it don't have to be the big lavish gifts all the time. Just showing that you're thoughtful and considerate about the little things, and it can go a long way. Uh,
Absolutely.
Sometimes we say that it's the thought that counts, but I think you do need to put some thought in what you get. It don't need to be just anything, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So hopefully I mean, Ivy get back in, but
How you just blink. I mean, we can't see you, but
now,
say
yeah,
something. Put an SOS in the comment.
yeah. So one of the things too, I wanted to talk about, how do we teach reciprocity, in our with our kids. I think it has to be an intentional act, intentional way of being, where they're watching us, even if it's nothing that we're intentionally teaching. They're watching our every move and our every behavior. So I see, how can you or can you give some advice or some thoughts out there on how to make sure that our kids are learning that very important ability of reciprocity?
I would say when it comes to your children, it's about how you sit down, just to structure them, just to show them what life really looks like. And I don't care if that's sometimes taking them to be how we do like Randy Sam shelter, take them in environments where they have to learn how to give to people and not always with their hand out to receive, but to find the balance that it is good to receive, but at the same time, know that it's always good to be able to extend a hand because you would want it to be extended back to you. So a lot of it is just what, like you say, they will watch us, but it also is taking the time out to navigate that with them by allowing them to be a part of your journey, whether you're out speaking or doing different things, that you are now showing them this how it looks like. So it's just about leading by example. Now, if they see you out there acting a fool when you mad because you done did it, and they hear you saying, well, I shouldn't have did that, because then they kind of follow suit, and that's how they begin to respond to people. So it's definitely about how you show up in front of them and just basically talking them through it. It's all about communicating it to them as well as showing it in your actions. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, and we got a question from Rashida. Appreciate the comment. We'll get to that, but just real quick, Ira, since you're back, we was talking about making sure we teach our kids reciprocity, because even if we're not doing it directly, they're watching us.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're takers and takers and takers, I think we run into the danger of them. They're always saying the apple don't fall far from the tree. So how do you ensure that your children learn that skill set?
For first, am I good? Is it a delay?
You good.
So I was watching from the background, but I had to jump in on this one.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is a very fine line, because if you are a giver with no boundaries, you are teaching your kids. They can go either way. They can be a giver without boundaries, or they can be takers. Because I know that with my daughter, she told me that when we were sitting down, she was telling me about myself one day. We was just talking to each other about ourselves. She told me that I am a giver and I give from the heart, but I don't care who I involve when I'm giving. So I can involve her without asking, and I'm giving. So you have to be careful. So I'm not being considerate of other people when I'm giving. And so she noticed that. And so that sat with me, because I'm thinking I'm showing her the right way. Like, it's, help people out, help people out, help people out. But I'm not being healthy when I'm showing her. So
That's
you
a good
have to
point.
be very careful.
Yeah, because at some point it could be unhealthy, right? If you're just giving and giving and giving, I think at some point you can enable bad behavior or people being taken for granted. And I tell you, just from experience, that's one of the worst feelings that you can have on this earth, is to feel like that you're taken for granted and they don't real honor your gifts. So let's go, and I want to get this response from Rashida. She's saying, so we're using reciprocity synonymously with expectation. I wouldn't say synonymously, but I would say they kind of feed off of each other. When I say reciprocity and expectations, I think you can give appreciation. You can show appreciation. I think that's a gift. And sometimes that's the only thing you can give. A lot of times you're going to give to someone who have no ability or any resources to return. Like if I'm giving it to the homeless, like you, I think at a minimum, at some point with some people, and we're talking about really about people who have the ability to show appreciation and return in some point. I agree wholeheartedly with TD Jakes. At some point, you do need to be able to reinvest in something that's important to you. I think we're taught from the age of understanding as kids that if the kids have to buy it themselves, they appreciate it more. And I think that context and that concept is, if I'm giving in something, if I'm investing in something, the Bible says that where my resources or my treasure is, so is my heart. And I really believe that we need to be investing in that relationship and the people that we're in a relationship with too. So Again, I don't think it's synonymous, but I do think that reciprocity and expectations can just feed off of each other.
She
And
gave two. She gave two other scenarios. Well, she came back with two other things.
oh, okay. You want to read it?
She said the issue is reciprocity is an agreement in which two people agree to do something similar for one another. How can I have an expectation of someone I have not established a foundation with, regardless of the ship?
Well, I think that's part of it. If we're getting in a relationship, friendship, relationship, partnership, if maybe it depends on what it is and what capacity you're doing it in. If I'm helping the homeless or something, yeah. But if I'm in a friendship or a relationship and I'm just giving, 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 and that other person is just taking, 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 maybe it's just me. I'm gonna have issue with that. I mean, what do y'all think?
So I want to go back to Rashida's original question when she said, "Give from the heart without expectations." I agree with her with that one, but that's when you have to learn how to create. That's when you have to learn how to create the boundaries. Like, who am I giving to? How much am I giving? Um, because when you give, like if you let somebody borrow money or you give someone money, when you give someone money, don't expect it in return. Sometimes you don't respect it in return. If you have a need, I'm going to help you with your need if I can help you. If I can help you, I will help you with your need. So I think that's what she's saying. Like, I will give without any expectations in return because I'm giving from my heart. If I'm in a relationship, I'm in any kind of ship, I'm going to do it because I love you. But it does feel good. I'm not doing it to get it in return, but it feels good to get something in return.
So let's
But
unpack that then. You're in a relationship, you're in an intimate relationship with somebody, and you're giving, and they never give back. You gonna be okay with that?
well, but that's when I have to reevaluate because if I'm doing it, I'm say a friendship, right? If I'm an automatic giver and you have a need, I'm gonna go into that giving mode. Okay, you have a need. I'm gonna help you fulfill. I'm gonna help you work your need out because I'm going. You didn't even ask me because I'm already in that mode to help give. You need help, I got help, or I'm gonna help find the resources. I'm automatic. You ain't even got to ask me because I go
Mm-hmm.
ahead in that mode. You don't
Okay.
even have to ask me. So if I'm in a relationship, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to chime in on that. I understand the friendship part, but when I got to the place where I'm not doing all the work anymore in a friendship, even in a help need, because because some people will keep doing because they know that you will do the work for them. So I had to find a place that I had to finally say, what have you already set out to do? What have you put in place? What have you put in motion? That's just where I had to learn the boundaries so that I didn't get myself overwhelmed where it's just an overwhelming. So I needed to know, have you already put forth the effort? Because one thing about it, I will say this that I've learned, I walk through hell with in my ships to make sure you get out. But I'm not going to walk in hell to help get you out and then you stay there because there's an expectation that I came in to help get you out. Now, in the event that I can't do it all, then I'm going to put up some boundaries. What can you come up with? Because this is all I can give. Now, if I'm going to give without any expectations, you're not borrowing anything from me. I'm not looking for you to repay me because if you need my help, then that means you can't really give it back. So I've learned to say, this is what I can do instead of just taking on the whole load, still allowing me to be a giver and to be present, but not take on the whole responsibility because sometimes in those instances, people will be like, I know she can figure it out. I know she can make it happen. And because of that, I will not do my part. So because in their mind, the expectation is she got it covered. But now I'm going to go hold some accountability in this friendship. I am here to be the expectations to help. But I also want you to know that you have to put in the work too. Because even if we the best of friends and you know that I can do it, I need to stop allowing you to be codependent on me and then to understand that you have to do some things too. And that was not even just with friendships. That was with my children. Because one, I can say one thing and my other child had to check me. Well, you tell this one that, but then in the end, you'll go ahead and do it. That was a self-reflection moment that I had to do. Did I want to hear it? No. It hit me with a little like deflated me, but I knew it was true because you'll say it, but then you'll do it.
Yeah.
So learning how to find just that balance in
Yeah.
it, but also telling my friends, you know, hey, we gonna put in this work together, because therefore then I don't get overloaded. I don't feel unappreciated, or I don't feel like you just turn for
and that's the thing. I
reasons.
think eventually, again, you go in initially and you can give with no expectation. But I think after a while, you will get burnt out if it's like constantly giving, and nobody else. But I do like what Rashida said right here. She says the issue is reciprocity. Is an agreement in which two people agree to do something similar for one another, and whether it's stated or not stated, I can get with that rendering of that definition right there. But I think same time, I think we all would naturally at some point feel some kind of way if it's constantly someone taking. And I'm not just saying, when I say take, that's someone who has the ability to give, but they so self-centered and self-absorbed with who they are and what their needs and wants are, that they can't even begin to even think about what to give. And I've been in relationships, friendships, partnerships with those type of people, where it was totally about them. And you know, you hear people say it, you know, and it sounds like it's no issue in the beginning, like, hey, I'm in it for what's me, and if it ain't good for me, I ain't a part of it. I'm like, yeah, I hear you, but really, if you unpack that, what does that look like, and what does that mean for the other person? What if they won't know what they want and in it for what they can get? Now it's going to be two selfish people, just they're coexisting with each other. So, but again, I don't want to discount what Rashida is saying. I just think it's another way of looking at it too, where we consider what's the relationship and what are the expectations too. Yeah. Here's another one. She said that, how can I have expectations of someone I have not established a foundation with, regardless of the ship? But I do think that that's in the beginning. Yeah, you're learning each other and understanding each other. And I think for me, I know I'm gonna build some resentment. I'm a giver, but at some point, you know, I was looking like, hey, I just had a birthday yesterday, and I'm telling you, I got more gifts this birthday than I done got probably in the past 5 or 6 combined. You know, shout out to the people that looked out for you, boy. You know, but really,
Yeah,
it
I tried,
felt
but
good.
she just had so much going on. I'm like, Lord, let's
It
go
ain't
back.
over. I got some more gifts coming. I'll reach out to you. I see. It ain't over. Christy Bostic said she hit the nail on the head. Good job, create space. But good job, create space where little I felt comfortable to share her thoughts. Rashida said,
You said
correct.
little
It's
I,
understanding.
little.
What'd you say?
No, she was saying little I.
Oh, little I. Okay, I get it. Filled up. Yeah, let me go. But you want to read that real quick? Ivory funny. She don't want to read nothing. Okay.
You know, I got my
I don't got
glasses
a
on.
glasses mode.
Yeah.
I got to get like this. I have to be like that.
Yeah, she says, Rashida called up. She said, it's understanding who you are and your ability to be able to do. You're right. But at the same time, hey, why don't we play this video one more time? It's a little 50-second video from TD Jakes, where I think he explains it so eloquently, and then we'll come back on the other side and talk about it.
Yeah, because it's some other good questions.
Yeah, and we're gonna get right back to that. So here we go.
Any relationship that has no real reciprocity will die. Strong people will keep giving to you a long time. Eventually, when they don't see it coming back in similar capacity, they will eventually become convinced that the investment does not warrant a return. If you don't learn to give like you learn to get, every area that there is not reciprocity, it will die.
I like that he said, if you don't learn to give where you get that it's going to die. And that's my thing. It's not that people don't have the ability to. I think we're talking about in these instances, people who just, for whatever reason, they're thoughtless. They choose not to. They're got this, what's the word I'm looking for? This entitled mindset that is about them. And a lot of times um, people get in those situations and you're going on for years and years and years. And I just think that at some point, if you got the ability to return the love that you're giving, I think that you should. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I also think that it's everything right with that. So,
Lord, Rashida, she said, I can't believe anything he says.
hey, Sheeta, you go get off TD. Sounds like he was talking to the takers to me. He was, absolutely. So that's the thing, is that we're talking about not just the givers. Yeah, we're giving. I think it's more blessed to give, but at some point, if you're not um, returning or reciprocating the love, then what he's saying, that relationship, friendship, whatever, is going to end up dying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me let you take this from Dane, if you will. I see.
He says, "Oh, you come to realize who the habitual line steppers are. It's how you establish boundaries with people in all aspects of the relationship."
Yeah, and you're right. Regardless of the relationship, friendship, partnership, whatever,
I
those
like
line
what he called
steppers.
them habitual line steppers.
Yeah, those
They're
people.
repetitive.
Yeah. So that's it. But it's how you establish boundaries with people. But I'll say this about boundaries, though. At some point, boundaries are healthy, and I don't want you to think I'm speaking against them. But if you got to establish some of the basic principles of relationship with some folks, I just think there's some healing in order, or some understanding that's in order, that, I'm not saying that I'm not here for it, but I don't know. I just got an issue with having to tell people or teach people or explain the importance of reciprocating. You have no issues with receiving, and you're conscious of how it feels to receive. I just find issue if you don't return it. I do. I got real issue with that. So
I like
um
the way Christy, she said, there are two ways to be happy: improve your
what's
reality
it?
or lower your expectations.
Which one?
Christy,
Okay, let me read it, then go ahead.
yeah, she just said that, she said, there are two ways to be happy: improve your reality or lower your expectations.
Ooh, wait, now she sounds like one of them therapists that I done been to. Lower your expectations. And you know what? It don't sound the best, but it can work. Sometimes we expect too much out of folks. And if you lower it, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes our expectations are too high, and that's our own issue. So sometimes you can lower your expectations to something that's more realistic. So I can appreciate that comment. She quoted that from Jody Picoult. Appreciate that
Hmm.
comment right here. Did we read this right here? You want to take this, I see?
No, I was just looking at that one. It says, with regards to being in a relationship, intimate, if the reciprocity becomes non-existent, then we as a partnership, we need to communicate and hold one accountable.
Yeah. What you think about that?
I just always feel like communication is the key. I feel like it's the lack thereof is where the problems come in. Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, communication is across the board in every area of your life, from your job to your children to your mate, uh, to the cashier. It could be to the dog. You got to communicate with your dogs when tell them to come in the house. Communication is across the board, and the lack thereof is where things begin to fall apart.
Yeah. I love this
And
one
then,
right here. She says
mhm.
teaching people how they fish, they will eat for a lifetime. But reciprocity, she says, cannot be a feeling. You're right. It is not a feeling. It's an act. And I think it's a thoughtful act that you have to think about how to do it. What you said earlier, I think naturally those who are in healthy, functioning relationships, they reciprocate. They're not just takers. So um, appreciate that comment, Rashida. She also says, happy belated birthday. Thank you so much. You know,
Woo-hoo,
turned the big 40, right?
boy.
That's your mouth. Hey, take this right here from Dane, if you don't will.
Oh, you come to realize.
Oh, we already read that one right there.
Yeah, I'm finna say, what you want to replay.
Yeah. Here we go.
Keep it real, G. They may not be your friend or worth having a relationship with.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of those things you realize, you go in it and you keep giving and giving, and sometimes there's burnout. And what we said earlier, you end up building resentment for it. So,
Mm-hmm.
and one more for you, if you don't mind.
She said, I agree 1000%. And that is exactly what I was saying. We cannot expect us and others.
Amen. So I'm gonna go ahead and
But now
it's
that's the truth
days
right
left.
there. Baby, they said somebody said you 49. It look like we got somebody over here telling the truth.
She telling something. I don't know if it's the truth. Hush your mouth,
Mm.
girl. Yeah. But hey, man, this has been a good one. I got a couple questions right here. Somebody text me, I see, and we want to see if we can get your input on these. And
Why I got to be my input?
because Ivory ain't here, and
Girl, you need to
hey,
stay connected, Ivory.
and I'm the producer.
Oh, it's always something.
Yeah, man. So here is from some anonymous people. It says, how do you establish balance between family and friends and doing it with love? In a relationship, when you're boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, how do you establish balance between the relationship and families and friends and do it with love?
You gotta know what to involve your family and your friends in and what not to. That's where the problem come in. Because then when we do that, you open up a door. Everybody got they get a opinion, a form an opinion, and they get attitudes with the person that they really don't really know. They're just going by what happened between y'all. We need to learn how to effectively communicate within ourselves.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes you're gonna need support, and it may just be a listening ear, but I don't think it needs to be damaging things that need to be said to make somebody view your partner or your family in the wrong manner. Because once you plant a seed, the people that have gotten a hold of that, they're gonna water it the way they see fit. And if the weeds grow up, if they choose not to pull out the weeds or the negative that you've been planting, then they just gonna roll with it. Vice versa with friendships, it's the same way.
Yeah.
So either we learn to be able to navigate together to be able to talk, or we find a neutral zone to go to in order to be able to do that. But in order to balance it, it's just knowing how to keep the main thing and certain things out of their ear holes for them
And the
not to
same
even
thing for the audience. I want y'all to chime in on that question. How do you manage conflict between family and friends in your relationship, but do it in love? And I'll just add my 2 cents. I hope the audience can add their input on that. But it's a realization or remembering that when you come together as a couple, they say the two become one flesh. But the reality is that you're two individuals with your own baggage, and that's good or bad or indifferent, with your own passions, fears, your own routines, and all that, and you're trying to merge and get those on the same page. Now, I'm saying that to say this: if I was a brother, and a son, and um, a friend to people before I got married, those things don't stop because I'm in a relationship. Now I got to learn how to manage those things and still be a son. Because here's the reality: you don't stop being a son. We talked about from a biblical standpoint. He tells you to honor your mother and father, and your days on this earth will be long. He also says to love your wife as Christ loved the church. So there's this command for all those things to coexist. I think what happens is what we expect or desire or want a relationship to be, or how we picture that our relationship going to be. When it don't be that, then it seems like we're hoodwinked. And sometimes it's that, but sometimes it's just unrealistic, unfalse, or expectations that we haven't unpacked. So again, in short, I would say that if you were a sister or a daughter or a friend before you got married, or same thing for a male, those things don't stop. You do have to honor your relationship with your new mate, but at the same time, you got to figure out how those things coexist. Now, to your point, if you got disrespectful people, it becomes difficult. But the beautiful thing about it is that we're not just animals who are instinctive and don't know how to think and rationalize and use logic to work through issues. And the thing is, we got to get out of our emotions, because it's going to be painful. It could be disappointing. It could be a letdown. But the thing is that we have the ability to reason through these challenges, and we have to slow down into what you said earlier, bring in a neutral party. sometimes you got to get somebody else in that can look at things for, in its truth without the emotions and say like, hey, just sometimes it could be a simple, you know, conversation to your point that can work these issues out. But you don't stop being what you were before you was married, and you got to learn how to make those things coexist. Um, you want to take Ivory's comment?
Ivory said, "Don't let your family mess up your family. Your marriage issues should be kept between you and your spouse."
Yeah, and I think that's the easy thing to say, but sometimes we're humans and we need to reach out for help, and accidentally, or you can open up and say too much. But the thing is, if you can quickly pivot. I was watching a Country Wayne video the other day, and Amber, she was telling the girl that was in her business, she was like, you know what, I'm the problem. I brought y'all in my business, and now here's the thing, I won't ever do that again. So sometimes we confide in the people, and sometimes you just want to vent and not necessarily want them to butt in. I think setting that expectation in the beginning, like, hey, I just want to vent, but you got to also be careful what you tell people that love you.
And
Because
also venting to the people that have good substance to help you navigate, not to bring separation and division, but something of substance. So everybody should have a safe haven that they should be able to discuss. But it's not that I should be coming in a way to tear down my mate. But if it was more to get more insight on how I can navigate through things better.
it will take this one right here from Dane.
It says after 20 plus years of marriage, it ain't the family's business. Just saying we working on our foundation together.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But again, you know, if you got a strong relationship with your mom and your brothers and all that, things are going to happen. I'll just say if we learn at the end of the day how to address things in love, you know, it could sting, it can hurt and all that. But I think that, at the end of the day, love does conquer all. So you might have to manage those relationships differently. Well, not might, you will have to. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's just it.
And
I
I
got
believe, like he said, if you're working on it together to keep the foundation strong, then yeah, usually people aren't involved. However, when you get to a place that you have no outlet to go to,
yeah,
that you're confined and you can't speak on anything, that's inner turmoil in a prison within itself. So I'm
yeah.
not saying that, you just gotta you've got to know who you can go to be able to help you navigate
And
through
family
those.
could be the worst. So you just gotta, to your point, you gotta be careful because they do love you and they're gonna protect you. And if you tell them that
Absolutely.
he or she are hurting you, I
Right.
mean, man, you just gotta be careful. And you almost wonder, like, man, who are you mad at? The one who went and put your business out there, or the
Right.
person who feel like they gotta protect their family from you, or
Right.
maybe both of them. So here's another one. If I have 3 female friends, why is my husband only interested in wanting to get to know one on a more personal level? How would that make him feel? How would that make you feel as a wife? I see. If she has 3 female friends, but it
Mhm.
seems like the husband only wants to get to know one of the friends on a personal level.
Well, I would want to obviously either now it can go this can go several ways now. The other two may be something um that he see not right with them. I don't want to get to know him. That don't necessarily mean he trying to get to know the other one for any specific reason, or maybe there's some insight that the other one brings. So it can go both ways. My question would be, what makes you why does it affect you that it would bother you that it would be one and not all of them? Because truth be told, if you got a friends, he may not like them either, or may not get to want to know all of them, and it may be something specifically why. My question would be to sit down and really ask him why, because truly he would only know the answer to that.
Yeah, I like this comment right here. She said, "Does he already know the other two?" And that
Yes,
might
it
be
is.
something. Maybe I don't know this situation.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't either. So what I'm saying is to really get down to the meat of the matter, it would be simply asking him.
yeah,
Why is it that you just want to get to know Sally, but you don't want to know Sarah and Jane over here?
yeah, yeah. It could be funny because you won't. If it's a true friend, I think it's healthy for your mate to kind of have a basic understanding of who your friends are, who you're hanging around. But
And
you
Ivy
like, I
said
can
her
see, huh?
Ivy said her insecurities are coming out through the one friend, through that one friend.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Here's another one. Should I always have to be the person showing grace when I'm the one not getting grace at all. That's tough. When you feel like you're always showing grace to somebody and these people are taking advantage of it, how do you deal with that right there?
Once again, it's called the cutoff button. It's about removing. I've learned to do that. Grace can be given, but when grace is taken for granted, I'm not gonna pop off with you. I'm just done with. I have to learn how to navigate and just be, wipe my hands of some things. Because if not, then internally it's tearing me up, and I ain't got time for nobody coming into my space doing anything that's gonna interrupt me. And so that means, you know what? I've extended this grace. Now this is how I proceed forward. And I still do it in love. You can extend grace, but you can also stand up and say what you need to say. We ain't got to be argumentative or combative. But when enough is enough, we need to be able to say it in a healthy way to say no more.
Yeah. I know what I learned that a lot of times people misunderstand what grace means. Some people think grace is the excuse to hurt somebody over and over and over again.
Right.
But grace is really the room to grow. So that whole growth is the expectation that I'm improving. So whatever it is that I did to hurt you before, you're giving me room to grow. That's what grace is. It's not an excuse to hurt me. It's the room to grow and improve so that I don't continue with that same behavior. So now you got to look at those relationships that keep pulling on you for grace. Is the expectation that I'm not supposed to show grace? Because I don't think that's it. I don't think we're ever at a point where we don't show grace. Now is how do we show that grace? Can I show grace and forgive, but also, sever ties in that relationship? Yes, absolutely.
But I'm not going to do something intentionally for you to. If I do something, I want you to say, "Oh, I gave you grace. You should give it to me." No, I'm not going to do an eye for eye or tit for tat just to say, "Well, I gave you grace when you did it. So if I do something, you should get the same grace."
I don't know. I see. And not to get too spiritual, but the Bible tells us that when the trespass increase, that the grace increases even more. Now, are we God? No. But I'm just saying it's a mark that we should try to push to. Now, with that being said, it's also a realization that I'm human and I got feelings and I hurt and and I don't want to hurt. So I got to look at those relationships and say, like, you know what? To protect my psyche, to protect my peace, then maybe I do have to limit or cut it off. But I think we look it into perspective. Am I of the mindset that nothing bad is supposed to happen to me? And if that's my mindset, I'm gonna be constantly disappointed because
what I was basically getting at is that I'm not gonna do, because there was something that was at the end of that, because I think she said that she don't get the same grace or something. Is that was at the end of it?
Yeah, she said, oh, this is actually a he. He said, I'm the one not getting grace at all.
Read the whole totality.
Should I always have to be why should I always have to be the person showing grace when I'm the one not getting grace at all?
I'm not getting grace at all, but I'm giving grace.
Yeah, constantly.
No, I don't. I mean, that right there. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of an open-end question because it's not like it's not like it's saying it's tit for tat. But in other words, I could do something, and if they do something, he gives grace, and then he does something and he doesn't get grace.
Yeah, they hold his foot to the fire, like, you know what, ready to crucify him.
So then once again, it's communication. We're going back to it. You got to ask questions. We don't really like to have tough conversations though, because I think there's a rebuttal that comes. Sounds like it's a tug of war somewhere.
I think in those instances, if it's that much confrontation, you're gonna have to get an outside person,
a mediator,
and not just a one-time thing. That's why I love therapy. You know, me and Ivory was talking the other day, man.
This is important
about our therapy. Like when I look at friendships, I'm looking at people like, man, what are you doing to grow and to process the change, the ongoing change in your life, good, bad, or indifferent? And that's what a therapist is. It's not just like me sitting on the couch and them telling me that something is wrong with me, but it allows me to look at a situation outside of my own fears and experiences and limitations and understanding, so that I could see things in other perspective. So I think that therapy is ongoing. And I think we short ourselves when we're trying to have these relationships, at the highest levels, but we're not arming ourselves with the best information and tools and resources so that we can combat, the conflict and the problems that's going to come. So when they do come, let's be honest, we're going to be biased towards ourselves. It takes real strong and trained and mature people to look outside of self and say, you know what, I'm the problem. Or the way I'm thinking is the problem. Or,
There's some things that I need to work on.
yeah. But if not, we're going to be looking at the other person to blame all the time for our shortcomings, or always looking for grace because we don't want to grow and improve in that area. Yeah, so that's it. This has been good. We went over a little bit. We appreciate everybody's time.
We
And,
appreciate Ivory being in the background because she can't be on camera.
yeah, but this is the time where IC closes out with a good word on reciprocity, relationships, giving and receiving, and making sure that
Child,
we
I ain't
both
been in a
are.
relationship in a minute, so because I've been in a relationship with myself. How about that?
Well, bring it.
Well, and I just, even with that, even if you're in a relationship or not, it's still work that has to be done across the board. And that's together. And if you're not dating her right now, get to really know you. And what you desire going forward, but also do self-reflections on what you need to do better with yourself. And so I feel like it has been very important for me. Let me say that. It has been very important at this time of my life. But then moving forward, just learning how to use my voice to speak up in the areas that I need to get a better understanding, or to relay what I need or desire, or to even ask the questions that what my mate needs from me. I just feel like the more that we can work from that angle, we will learn how to be more receptive in giving and not being a taker, but balancing out on giving each other what we need in a healthy manner. Not one giving more than the other, not me trying to outweigh you or outdo you, but to be in this together, to say that whatever we can do to make our relationship and our foundation strong, what are the things that we need to do together? What things do we need to work on? What things do we need to, chisel away or fix? Or what can we add to it? But it's going to still go back to communication, self-reflection, and being able to sit down and have hard conversations so that we get there. Because what I have learned is if you keep taking and taking from somebody, it will die. But at the same time, you shouldn't have to die. Nobody should have to die in a relationship. If you're giving and this not being given back, you will be on life support. And if nobody comes back to come and give you what you need, the relationship will die. And I don't choose to die in a relationship. I know that we should be thriving. Anything that we put the effort for, it will grow, it will blossom, and it will bloom. But if you don't and you smother something, it will eventually die, roots and all. And when roots are gone, there is no going back to rewater them because the roots are dead. At least if there's some pruning that needs to take place, if I prune off the things that are not making us work collectively and cohesive together, then therefore it can be revived. But if I allow everything to take over and death comes to the root of the thing and the heart of the matter, it is over. So I would suggest that if you got a relationship that's on life support, it's something that can still be done to restore, but you got to put in the work. You got to put the right medication in there. You got to put in the right time. Sometimes you need a rest period just to not fuss, but to collectively hear what your partner's saying and to take those things into consideration and say, how can I do better? How can I make it not one-sided, but look at it as a collective unit? So that's all that I got to say from that. But it definitely starts with self, because a lot of things that happen when we can't give, it definitely goes back to we need to look inside of ourselves, that ask that question, why do we operate from that place? And why do we respond from that place? And all of those different things. And once you get that, then you're able to move forward differently, because we're not pointing fingers anymore. Because sometimes the biggest finger we need to point is back at ourselves. And we need to really go through and dissect. Some of us need open heart surgery, open mental surgery. We need to go in and just look at a lot of different things that have caused us to think and to act, or to be in a place of offense, to hold back, not to move forward. And a lot of it is going to be tied to old triggers that we have not gotten over, dealt with, or addressed. And now we've brought it into a relationship that we just haven't, that now we have, and we haven't handled it. So even with our children, there are things that we've planted that we need to go back and tear out, but we don't want to go back and do that, because at the end of the day, we always right. we miss it. Everybody miss it at times.
Yeah.
Find out what's missing, correct it, do the self work, do the heart surgery, go in and change your mindset, and just put in the work. Because I promise you, the relationship can thrive. That and the reciprocity can be exchanged, evenly balanced, if we go ahead and do the right work and just remove pride and all of that selfishness and wanted to always have it our way. And then we gonna see some good results. So that's what I say. Just self-reflect.
Appreciate that word. Appreciate everybody tuning in. There's a couple things I want to prepare everybody for upcoming.
Right.
We have this event coming up. I'm just trying to put it on a so that people see it.
Real Men Talk.
Yeah, Real Men Talk. Can you see it? That ain't it either, huh? Let me go back there.
No, I see me. There we go.
Yeah,
It ain't
so
really big, but Real Men Talk Summit.
Yeah. So we got a summit, Real Men Talk. And what we're making sure we focus on is what y'all have been saying, you and I have been saying, is the need for men to voice what we're challenged with, the things that we're facing day in and day out, and the need also for us to be supported by those that are in our lives. So we talk about that thing about reciprocity. It looks a lot of different ways, based off the relationship. But we're going to have some real in-depth conversations with some men who are being vulnerable and transparent and opening up about the things that we're facing and appealing to our female counterparts, letting you know, like, hey, we're not enemies. And we not only do we need you, but we also want you. We want you to be in our lives. We want you to be our rock. We want you to help be the foundation. But we need to learn to first stand up and be who we supposed to be, take ownership and accountability and responsibility for who we supposed to be. And then, make a space for the women in our lives, whether it's an intimate relationship, our female siblings, friends, mothers, so they can support us. Because I believe that the world is better, our community is better, and our families are better when we got men standing up, being vocal, being open, and leading the way in our community. So July the 30th, it'll be the first session. So just follow us on this page right here. We got a lot coming. So just be prepared for Real Men Talk coming in July.
Yeah, bring your sons, because they need to be a part of it too. Because so many times we just think about our mates and everything, but we also have to realize that your sons are going to encounter somebody's daughter, and we need to be able to help them navigate their emotions, how they feel, and that they do have a safe space to release and to talk about their hurts, their concerns, and everything that's going on. Because we focus a lot on women, but we don't give enough to the space for men, and so my heart is also open for that as well.
Yeah, and I know that's one thing that you and Ivy, y'all are real involved in that arena. So we'll definitely have both of you a part of that. So again, July the 30th through August the 1st, it's a 3-day event. We'll send out information that'll be online, available for everybody to tune in. So just look out for more information on that. I see. Close us out.
Well, this is what I do. We hate to leave y'all, but we know some of y'all need to go get you some rest. Some of y'all just probably need to go eat. Whatever you got to do, we just want you to do the same thing that I asked you to do in the very beginning. And that is like, share, and subscribe on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Wherever you're working with, let's be able to do that. And then share it with a friend. At least go back. If you get to watch this, you can push the replay button. Let us know in the comments if you have something that you would like for us to go back and to read, so that we can dialogue. Feel free to do that as well. But as always, thank you for joining the Floor is Yours podcast. We are always happy to be here with you all, dialoguing, having healthy dialogue, and getting nuggets from every topic that we discuss. So on tonight, we say we love you and have a good night. Take us up out of here, Flex.
Now it's my turn to tell y'all about my big bro Gerard and the podcast crew. From TJ to Realist, Miss Cookie the Professor, and you can't forget about the inspiration shit. They talk about it all, got advice for us all. You'll never know how deep the talks would go. On the weekdays, the weekends, they be going live with the topics. Then they do the segment where the flow floor is yours. You can post your comments, you can post your statements, yeah. You can ask your questions, They can help you get your life moving in the right direction. If you need advice on marriage, advice on finance, advice on healing, advice on credit, this the podcast that you need to check out. Go ahead and tune in, you'll feel what I'm talking about.
Baby, I'ma get the floor is yours. Yeah, baby, I'm in the floor is yours. Baby, come down to the floor is yours. Let me show you how blue the floor is yours. Hey, the floor is yours. The floor is yours. Na 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 na. The floor is yours. The floor is yours. Na 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 na. The floor is yours. Yeah, yeah.
Good night. We love y'all.